Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
And welcome, everybody, to this edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media pages. I think we have 3 working cameras here. So thanks to Sissel and the team for that. As Sissel adjusts one of the cameras. We're glad you're here. And by the way, if you are watching right now and you would like to get an update on the topic of the show and get an email every week on Friday morning or early Friday afternoon, please email me directly, davepalmer@grnonline.com. I know a lot of you don't watch this live, but you watch it after the fact, and we get a lot of people that at least kind of check into it and see what it's all about. All right, well, let me introduce the crew. My name is Dave Palmer, as I mentioned. Over here, the dynamic duo of Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg of Austria, Germany.
Not Germany, just Austria.
Austria, okay. Sporting, yeah, I went out of order. See, Sissel. Okay, so Sissel.
I am the OG student.
I didn't know if you had established your camera shot yet.
It's a good enough.
Okay. You haven't worn that hat yet, have you?
No, it's a new hat. I found a whole new box of hats in my closet. And so I'm really excited.
Find one.
I'm excited because I have so many more fun hats for the next few weeks. And this one's my Smokey the Bear hat that I got when I was like 10.
Are they yours or like somebody like the previous owner of the house?
No, they're mine.
Okay.
They're mine.
Okay.
See, I knew I was missing some hats, but I didn't know. It's always like that. There's one box of all the things you can't find.
Yeah.
And those were where those hats were, including my Smokey the Bear hat. So just encouraging people to be safe with the fires.
Yeah, because only you can prevent forest fires, right?
Yes, exactly.
I heard a comedian one time say, only I can do that? That's a lot of pressure, man. All right, well, welcome, Sissel. Thanks for getting the 3-camera shot set up. Looks so nice. Okay, now I introduced Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg and Sam Cavanagh, and with your chosen hat on, huh?
Spiking the merch.
Yeah, excited about the next episode for that?
Yeah, and after waiting a year, I will probably be less excited.
Unfortunately.
But it's okay.
You think they're going to let you down or what?
No, I think they'll still keep up and do really good. It's kind of like there's also other movies where you had to wait a long time, and in the end, it was worth it.
Like Jaws 2?
There's a lot of movies that you also waited a long time and were very disappointed by.
Yeah. And there's some movies like they never made a sequel, like The Sound of Music, and I hope they never do. They never made a sequel for that, did they? I
don't think so.
No,
Okay,
that would
some
be
of them
kind of weird.
are just so classic. You just leave it alone, okay? And don't try to make a sequel or another one. So anyway, it's just my advice.
Unless it's John
Even
Wick,
if The Chosen lets you down, Sam, the source material won't.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, so we are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. Diane Xavier is on the other side of the glass. And
Hello.
Diane answers the phone if anyone wants to call in. It's been a while since we've had an actual phone call. 877-757-9424. I've had some people that watch the program and they tell me afterwards, they're like, how do you leave a comment? And so I don't know if it's real complicated. I know I do it for some of the other shows, but just go into the little part where you can leave a comment and Sissel or somebody will read it out loud, and we'd love to hear from you. So anyways, thanks for watching. This is a 3-part show. We do a way a day first. That's where... And by the way, all of us are contributing today. Every single one of us has brought something. We notice something in nature. We connect it to God. It's very Thomistic. It's very Dominican. So it ties into the show. And then we have a teaching. Today it's going to be days 4 through 6 of creation, where God adorns the world, which he has already made distinct. Okay, first 3 days are the days of distinction. The next 3 days are days of adornment. Really interesting. And so we'll get Thomas's take on that. And then we do the trivia challenge, where each of us brings trivia. I'm a little nervous because I left my screen up, and Sissel was kind of hovering around my computer. She says she didn't see him, but I had all my trivia questions. So if she does really well today,
We know why.
Yeah, we'll know why. So I'm not.
Maybe I just was divinely inspired with my answers.
So you really didn't see it, huh?
No, I was
Okay.
Dave. I was so focused on getting things
Yeah.
ready for the show that you were like, you quickly changed your screen. And I'm like, what happened?
The last thing in your mind was my silly trivia questions. Okay,
Exactly.
Sam, did you bring some trivia questions?
I have one. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jonathan?
Nope, as usual.
he'll come
Maybe
up
you
with
should just start
something.
saying yes because you end up having
You
one.
always
That's
have
true.
them. You always have
But the
them.
one
So-
time I do, I won't be able to think of anything. So
All right.
I
and,
am assured that I will have a great question for you.
I'll probably have something.
So Adrian is in the house. He's a
I
Thomist.
saw his comments.
He loves Thomas Aquinas. So we know that the Thomas intellectual level of our participants is really up high there because Adrian's a great contributor. So thanks for watching,
Wait,
Adrian.
I was going to say, I think we can actually see the trivia questions on the back
Oh
of that. as you're
man,
holding
did
it
you
up.
notice? Did you say? Gosh, I can't do that. I really did not
Just
plan
keep
very
it
well.
behind
Did
the
you see
computer.
him?
I just saw the word trivia.
Okay, all right. Well, that didn't give you too much. Okay, I got to be very careful. I'm going to do it like this. All right, phone number if you want to call in, 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. Jonathan and Sam made an intro for Away Today. Diane, are we able to play that? The intro? So here's how it goes.
We think.
Okay.
We hope.
I like it so far.
It's good.
All right.
But do you want me to help you, Diane?
All right, so I'll tell you what. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start. This is just the pay. I got a Facebook group page that I started. It has 40 people now.
Whoa.
And Sissel was one of the first to join. Your mom, Sam, is a member. And so 40 people now. What we do is we notice something, as I mentioned, in our everyday life. Creatures can't be a human creature because I think that's like pretty obvious because we're made to the image and likeness of God, and that's just too obvious. Something else, something of the lower order of creatures, and then connected somehow. So all of us brought something. We'll table the intro till next week, Diane, or do we have it?
No, we got it.
Oh, we got it?
yeah.
Okay.
Right,
Here it
Diane?
is.
Nope, not that one.
Well, that one will work too.
That
I was
would have
gonna say,
worked,
you
but
guys
that's
only
not
have
it.
one music bed?
Yeah.
All right, so let me go on. Diane, why don't you raise your hand when you have it, okay? Let me know when you have it. And here's my first one, and this is something that Sissel is very aware of because she's the one that actually spotted this, but I stole it from her as a way a
Thanks.
day. And I posed this question. We got 5 people here, so I want to ask you guys a question.
Oh boy.
You come across this spider web, all right? And this thing was amazing. Why are you guys laughing about so much? This little insect is in
There's
pain.
something happening. with
There's a
the
little bit
chat.
of an issue. Your camera is actually still on the PowerPoint. Because
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Congratulations.
I moved it to where it's okay.
Oh,
It's
okay. All right. Okay. So a little technical difficulty
one,
that we
yes.
have here.
Trying to
Okay.
figure that out.
It should be
All right. I thought you guys found a June bug struggling for its life in a spider web to be
It's
somewhat
absolutely hilarious.
very
Okay.
hilarious.
Not
Yeah,
that
it's all hilarious if it's not you, right? So, all right. So we come across this. Sissel noticed it. It was like a June bug or some kind of beetle alive still in the web, okay? And this thing's a big bug. I mean, it's like the size of like maybe a penny or something, and it couldn't get out. But if you remember, in the past I had said that if you adjusted a spider web to size, it's stronger than steel. Okay, so this thing was not getting out. The spider was nowhere in sight. Okay, so the point I made on the website is that the problem of suffering. Okay, we suffer. It's like, why does God allow suffering? Why would God allow this poor little June bug to have to sit there in a spider web and like literally sit there and die? So the question I posed on the page was, if you saw this and you came across it, would you release the bug from the grips of the web, or would you let nature take its course? What would you do? And then I'll tell you what I did. Sissel knows what I did because she was there.
I was present.
Okay. What
let
would you do?
nature
Would
take
you
its
let?
course.
So you just let the spider, let it die, and then the spider eat it?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. If you're watching at home and you want to play along, let us know what would you do. To kind of let nature take its course, or would you release the poor beast creature from its agony and pain?
Well, now you're making me feel bad.
Well, you were already laughing at it, so.
So I think
all
we know
right,
what Jonathan's
sis.
answer was.
Sam, do you release it or do you let nature take its
I
course?
don't know. I guess on normal days I would. If I really stopped to think about it, I might like do something.
So you probably release it.
Not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, like pretty much the majority of time I would just.
I actually
walk by.
I feel like for bugs, I don't think about releasing bugs. But
they're horrible.
It was like
Yeah.
a cat or something.
yeah,
in
if it was
there?
like if there was like some other, even if it like something I don't even necessarily like a lizard or something like that was being attacked, I might like throw
Yeah.
something to kind of get whatever was attacking it away or something. Because I always was so uncomfortable watching nature documentaries growing up as a kid, and they're like the guy with the accent's just like,
Jonathan.
and
It's always the guy,
the
the
baby
Australian.
seal has no idea the danger that it's in. And we just have to let it take its course. Like nature takes
no,
it.
you
And
don't.
I'm just like, it's a baby seal.
I know. But I think they set all that up. I mean,
It's
there's no way they just
terrible.
happen upon
but
that
this-
scene. It's all set up.
I mean, personally,
Laura's on the board for let nature do its thing.
Okay.
yeah.
So now, the other part of it, and I like that. It's kind of with Sissel. It's what kind of creature is it? If it's a lizard, I'm gonna let it go. If it's a little silly little June bug, maybe not.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I
If
don't
it's a
like
cockroach,
June
I'm
bugs
sure not
personally,
helping
and I
it.
think they're annoying. So if they're kind of being cleaned up by something in a natural way, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. So, all right, Diane, you want to weigh in? What would Diane do? Diane's a pretty merciful person. I'm betting she would let it go. All right, but then you also have to touch the thing. I mean, you may not want to touch
There's
this.
sticks exist.
Yeah.
I'm scared of all creatures.
Okay.
She would just stay away.
Yes, you would just say whatever. Let it. Okay. I did release it. I don't. I'm not saying there's
I
anything
freak out.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with letting nature take its course. The spider was not in view. I also said if the spider was actively eating it or like on its way, then I would have let it alone. But it's like, man, the spider couldn't have been that hungry. I mean, it's not even eating it. It's just letting it suffer. So, okay. So we did a frog last week. I just want to highlight, because this is another frog. The one that Sissel showed last week was our president, Len Oswald, was holding. But, the cool thing about this, think about what God does. God allows a frog like this, assuming it's a female, they lay like 1,000 eggs at the same time.
Whoa.
Okay, imagine, the females amongst us giving birth to 1,000 babies. I mean, see, Jonathan's laughing again.
the way you said it.
1,000
That's
babies.
just a disturbing
okay?
thought.
I know. So then they're in this little egg sac, and then they turn into these little tadpoles. So they're like little fish with gills. They live their first part of their life basically as fish. And then they get these legs growing out of their bodies and arms growing out of their bodies. And then all of a sudden, at some point, they just kind of know, oh, I'm no longer a fish. I'm an amphibian. I got to get out of the water. And now I got lungs. I mean, is that like the coolest thing in the world or what? I mean, God designed all this. I find it's like we don't think about that often. But amazing, amazing creatures. So, okay. Here's another amazing thing. Just a quick commentary on this. It's a sunset. It's from Midland. Midland doesn't have a lot of trees, so you get great sunsets. Think about it. God could have just, you go from light to dark, okay, gradually from like bright to dark. He could have done that, but he didn't. He allows us to see these amazing sunsets and sunrises. Most of the time we just kind of ignore them too, but anyways, pretty cool there. And then the last one, I actually took this picture last night, and I'll pose this question to anybody who's out there who wants to play along or guess about this. This is a moth. So I go out in my backyard, on my back porch last night, turn on the light, and what do all the moths do? They're, flying around the light. Have you ever wondered why they do that?
It's because they're
having a rave.
I always thought it was because the sun is the moon is their direction of up. That's so they know how to go up. So then they'll just go towards it, and then that's what I've heard. So a light is kind of like a fake moon to them, and they'll go towards it.
Yeah, basically right. But the way I have heard described is that their navigation system gets confused. Okay, kind of like what you said. They like it's like they think it's the moon, right?
Yeah.
So they're like totally distracted. So our artificial light is totally throwing a whole species of creatures out of whack.
Yeah, take that
And-
moth.
So I mean, for many years we didn't have artificial light. We had, they've been known to fly into fires and that kind of stuff. And so there's always been something. Fires aren't artificial, but I find it interesting that anytime you see these and sometimes there's like hundreds of them, flying around the light, they're all confused. But the connection I made to this is that it's kind of like we know what our final end is. but we also get like thrown off and distracted, and we sin. We know where we're supposed to go, but there's just things out there that are throwing our navigation off, so to speak, right? Okay, well, that's the end of my contributions. So we're still the camera is still a little jacked up, is it? Or
Well,
can we?
you're still on the screen.
Well, you're on the screen just because I think you were going to do that
okay.
later on.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's,
So
but it's
now-
working.
We didn't think
Alright.
it all the way through.
This is Sissel's
Story of our life.
contribution. She has one away a day that she's going to describe. Sissel, take it away.
Yes. So, sorry about the terrible photo quality, but I was about 10 feet away because I didn't feel comfortable getting any closer.
Yeah.
This little guy disturbed my afternoon trampoline jump that I've intended on doing because he was on it and I didn't want to disturb him. He looked like a leaf. He looks like a leaf. So I did some research on a leaf-looking bug, which surprisingly was very helpful. And I'm pretty sure that it was a katydid. That's what it's called, katydid. I'm really glad that they have that name because their like actual scientific name is really long. But katydid. And these little guys are actually a type of grasshopper. And they have usually about a year life cycle. Only their like egg can survive throughout the winter, so they have kind of an interesting life cycle. The reason why they're called katydids is because of the sound that they make. It makes it sound like they're saying Katie did, Katie didn't, or something like that, which kind of sounds like he loves me not. But interestingly, I was trying to figure out what they don't. They tend to mostly eat grass and leaves, but I think a lot of creatures eat them. So maybe that's what their role in the world is, besides being our little built-in lawnmowers. That's basically what I learned about them.
Yeah, interesting because they eat leaves and they kind of look like a leaf.
They do.
Right. So
that's
do they
also
eat
part
each
of their.
other?
That's part of their like defense mechanism too. It's looking like a leaf.
Yeah.
So kind of cool.
That is cool.
They're interesting looking. I know my picture does not do justice to what it looks like because, again, I zoomed in from far away.
You didn't. You didn't want to get real
I
close.
was basically running the other way, and then I was like, "Oh, Dave would want a picture," and ran back.
and they're totally harmless, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They don't. They don't.
Kind of
Really.
like cockroaches.
Yep. Well, that's a rainy season. The
Cockroaches
trauma
are
that the
mentally-
cockroaches leave on someone's.
But
I
these don't
call
creep you out
harmless.
as much as
They
cockroaches.
don't
right?
creep me out as much. I don't really like grasshoppers because of their sudden movement, because they tend to apparently be very skittish.
Yeah.
That was another thing I was reading about characteristics of them.
Yeah.
So, which was the same. We should be best friends
All
because
right.
I'm the same way.
So okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, it's your turn. You
right.
sent a picture
Yes.
of an egg and a dime.
Yes.
I'm guessing the egg is the
No, the
creature?
dime is actually the focus. See, the dime is nature's most amazing creature. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the picture up for a second because it's just Dave sitting there next to an egg. So we'll go back to 3-shot now. So that egg was a very small chicken egg. It was a Surama egg. So that's why it's small. I have Suramas because my
What
backyard.
are Suramas?
Yeah, they're like little chickens about that
I
big.
thought it was a type of llama. I'm not gonna lie.
They're pretty
Yeah.
small, so that's why the egg is small. Anyway, just a little heads up there. So eggs, besides just being my favorite things ever, because I just love eggs, like the way they look and just how they work and everything. The reason why I picked them was because I think that they sort of present a really good pro-life argument, because often people will say that the child in the womb is just sort of an extension of the mother that's not really alive and is totally on another living organism's life support. But an egg is in no way attached to the hen, and you couldn't say that the shell's alive. It's in there, and the egg is its environment. It's like the womb. It's just a womb outside of the bird, and it has to be kept warm, of course. But the egg itself is just food. It's just a box full of food for a little chick to grow in.
Yeah.
All it needs is to be warm. And I just think it's a really interesting way to look at the, pro-life argument in a different way. With
So
the
is
egg.
that like the yolk of? I mean, the white of the egg is its food, right? Of
And
like
the yolk
what-
too.
The yolk is okay. The yolk is part of its food, and that's
Yeah.
why it's good food for us as we eat them, right?
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
nature's food.
Yeah.
They eat the egg white, which is full of protein, and then right before they hatch, they eat the yolk, and then the yolk lasts them a couple days after they hatch. They kind of are still digesting it. Sort of.
And that's why they can mail them to people. Yeah, they mail the baby chicks because they have already eaten everything and they can live like 3 days without anything.
Yeah.
I understand. So you can mail baby chicks to people across the country or something because they
Exactly,
don't
yeah.
have to eat or drink, right?
They're fine. It's just as soon as they hatch, you got to ship them off.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing is that eggs can actually last, I think, up to 3 weeks before you have to throw them out for incubation, because they're totally encased, so there's no bacteria inside. Eventually, though, it'll kind of begin to spoil because stuff can crawl into the pores. But it's a really interesting little. I love eggs. The concept of an egg is really cool to me.
You like to eat eggs too?
Eat eggs too, yes.
How do you like to have them? Scrambled?
Usually
poached?
omelet. That's the best way.
Omelet. Okay. All right.
Omelets are good.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, very good. Well, thank you, Jonathan. And Sam with his first contribution to Away a
First
Day. We
contribution.
should have. And Diane, you have the sound effect now, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and play it.
No, yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, we
It's
think.
that
Okay,
time
we-
again.
Sorry.
It's that time again, Sam.
Time for what?
Way! Day! I'm so excited!
It sounds like they're like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
I was
All right.
thinking about
It was
that.
worth the wait.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So here's Sam. Sam sent 3 pictures. They're all related. So I've got them all on this screen here.
Yeah.
And so take it away, Sam.
Yeah, so this is Vermont. We went there on a debate trip earlier, and it's the thing that about Vermont is that like the whole place is completely covered in trees like this. And then the picture to the farthest on the right is actually the barn that President Coolidge grew up in, or where he grew around. He was a 30s
I was gonna say, grew up in a barn.
Well, yeah, he is my favorite president as a side note. But as far as I was thinking about forests, and I'm gonna pull just a direct quote from some sort of sources, like the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, something
Whoa.
like that. Yeah, we're
Wow.
getting official. And so my fact about forests, they say, quote, forests are home to over 80% of land animals and plants and cover 31% of the world's total land area. About 1.6 billion people around the world depend on forests for their livelihoods and daily subsistence needs. So, I don't know. When we saw the trees all in Vermont like that, we were kind of like, whoa, this is so pretty. Because Texas, you don't really have forests like that.
Mm.
But it's also really cool to think about like how it's kind of like just such a huge habitat for the majority
Yeah.
of living creatures.
Yeah, there's so much going on in there. You look at it just looks like a big green bunch of trees, but if you get in, all the insects and all the snakes and the lizards and the turtles and the bears and the whatever. I mean, there's so much going on in there. 80% of what life is in
80%,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
It's
crazy.
animals and plants.
Yeah,
So-
and the kind of the little smoke, or is that a cloud or fog right above that
That's a
that
cloud,
hut?
yeah.
Okay, it looks kind of like the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, very good. Well, praise God for all the life that He provides us for. Any other comments about Away a Day before we move on?
I was just gonna say with the green leaf animal, if you used an Android phone, you could have had a higher resolution. Just kidding.
Wow. You
I'm
getting paid
joking.
by Android
I'm
or
kind of
something?
bitter. No, I'm not getting paid. I just
Okay.
I like to spur up controversy between the Android and Apple.
Android
phones.
is far better. I
Yeah.
agree.
This may not be the show, you know. I don't know. I mean,
Hey, I'm
it's
sure we can help with spiritual.
a little off track, but
Yeah.
hey, you know,
Yeah.
it's all right.
It's on
And
me.
first time I think anybody has quoted the UN Commission on, you know, whatever that was. So, and talk about their favorite president. And so, okay. Well, Sam, thanks a lot. Good contribution. Appreciate that. All right. Anything else? Are we ready to leave Away a Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
I'm sorry. Okay. Here we are. This is the. We don't have an intro for this. This is the part of the show.
Dumb.
The part of the show where we actually get a little deeper and we start talking about actual parts of the Summa Theologia, and we're going over the creation account.
No, not that one.
Diane wants to play that all the time, right? Sounds like the beginning of Love Boat or something.
It does.
Okay, so the creation of the world, distinction versus adornment. So let me just remind you. Now, this is out of order. You can see that this is several verses of Genesis that are. I've taken some of them out, but just as a reminder, these are the highlights of the first 3 days of creation, since it's been a week since we did this. Okay, in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth. Okay, as I mentioned last week, that's kind of a loaded sentence because they're like, oh, what does that mean? Was that the angels? Was that what are you getting at there? Okay, and the earth was without form or shape, with darkness over the abyss and a mighty wind sweeping over the waters. Okay, we talked about a formless shape. Without something that doesn't have form or shape, what is it? What is it? It's kind of there, but not there, right? Kind of mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on the first day, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Even though we didn't have the sun and the moon, right? There was light, but it was formless light, Thomas said. And then on the second day, God separated the waters and created the dome or the sky. Okay, evening came, morning followed the second day. And then God called then he brought forth the earth from the water, the basin of water he called the sea, the dry land he called the earth. And God saw that it was good. And then in kind of a mysterious way, God said, let the earth bring forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree on earth that bears fruit with its seed in it. The interesting thing about this, I read a little bit more about this, and Thomas goes on to say that he doesn't think the vegetation actually grew on the third day. It was kind of like in its causal form, maybe like in the seed form, but it was just kind of like potential vegetation. It's kind of interesting the way he describes it, right? Because so that's going to play a part here in a minute. Okay, so those are the first 3 days. Now, what happens now is day 4. So basically, the first 3 days, you have the heavens, you have the sky, you have the earth, and you have the sea. Okay, but nothing in it. There's not. You just have what he calls distinction, but there's nothing has been put on it in it yet. All right. So then the 4th and the 5th and the 6th day, he's going to populate these these 3 things. So in day 4, let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate day from night. Let them mark the seasons, the days, and the years, and serve as lights in the dome of the sky to illuminate the earth. And so it happened. God made the 2 great lights, the greater one to govern the day, the lesser one to govern the night, and the stars. So day 4, he created the sun and the moon. Okay, so now the sky is adorned. Okay, you got the sun and the moon. Didn't mention the stars specifically, but you got sun, you got moon. Okay, that makes sense? Mm-hmm. So then we move on to day 5. God said, let the waters teem with an abundance of living creatures, and on the earth let birds fly beneath the dome of the sky. God created the great sea monsters and all the kinds of crawling living creatures with which the water teems and all kinds of winged birds. God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, be fertile, multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. Evening came, and morning followed the 5th day. So now you got the sky with the sun and the moon. You got birds, and you've got fish, sea monsters. I don't know if that's like the Loch Ness Monster or what that is exactly.
Yeah, when was that created?
But so now you got all the fish in the water, right? And you got the birds in the air, and you got the sun, the moon. So what's missing? What's still missing?
Sam is pointing.
Sam
to
is saying he's missing. Yeah, Sam hasn't been created
specifically
yet.
Samuel Kavan is there.
Yes, that comes in the next verse. All right, so then day 6, and I don't have to read the whole thing, but basically in day 6, God said, let the earth bring forth every kind of living creature, tame animals, crawling things, every kind of wild animal. And so it happened, God made every kind of wild animal, every kind of tame animal, every kind of thing that crawls in the ground. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fishes of the sea, the birds of the air, the tame animals, all the wild animals, and all the creatures that crawl on the earth. Okay, so obviously the only creatures that he said, let us make them to our image were the human beings. And then he gave the human beings dominion over everything else. Now, there's another interesting thing that's going to come up here. Okay, God created mankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So God only has 2 genders to check. He doesn't, like on Facebook, have 54 genders. Just saying. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over all the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and all the living things that crawl on the earth. Now listen to this. God also said, see, I give you every seed-bearing plant on all the earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit on it to be your food. Okay? So he only said we could eat the vegetation, right? And I know there's been talk about this. Like, did God intend us to be vegetarians? He didn't say eat the animals. He said eat the vegetation. I think there's an answer for that, because obviously Jesus ate fish, and Jesus didn't have a problem with eating animals and all that. But interesting that he only mentions right here eating the. Maybe Adrian knows more about this. Okay, and all the wild. Okay, and to all the wild animals, all the birds of the air, and all the living creatures that crawl on the earth, I give all the green plants for food. And so it happened. God looked at everything that he made, and he found it very good. Evening came, and morning followed the sixth day. All right, so kind of cool, where your first 3 days, distinction, next 3 days, population, adornment, that kind of thing. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I really haven't put too much thought to it because I hadn't thought about it either. But it kind of almost feels like it would be something like before and after the fall with eating animals. I don't really have any. It's just something that came up to me, but it's kind of like.
I think there may be something there, yeah.
Yeah, because
That kinda makes
it would
sense.
make sense that say a lion probably, according to that, would have eaten plants maybe, but now of course they only eat meat, and you can't survive without it. So.
Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious to know if somebody knows about that. Is that after the fall, then there was no longer harmony between us and the animals. They're afraid of us, and we start eating them, which gives them another reason to be afraid of us, right? And I don't, like we said last week, I don't think there would have been fire ants or wasps or hornets or venomous snakes or
spiders.
venomous spiders.
Cockroaches.
Might have been cockroaches.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think those
yeah.
would
Might have
exist.
been cockroaches.
And so, before the fall, Sissel would have been harmonious with the cockroach. I mean,
Imagine that.
if Adam and Eve had never sinned, there would have been perfect harmony between Sissel and the cockroach. Boy, that would be a good world, wouldn't it?
It would.
no hate. Sissel would have actually removed a cockroach from a spider web. I'm pretty sure she would have.
We'll never know. No, just kidding.
Yeah. So pretty cool. Then, of course, in the seventh day, God rests. We're not going to cover that today, but let me show you a little bit. This is all just scripture that I've shown you so far. So let me show you a little bit about what Thomas says, okay? This is St. Thomas Aquinas on the creation account. Feel free to jump in and comment if you'd like. If you're watching at home and you'd like to give us your 2 cents, or if something maybe doesn't make sense to you, you have a question, let us know what you're thinking. You can call us, 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. Okay. So Thomas says, in recapitulating, that's a good word, the divine works, Scripture says, so the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the furniture of them. Okay, the furniture was the adornment, thereby indicating that the work was threefold. In the first work, that of creation, the heaven and the earth were produced, but as yet without form. Okay, so that's this kind of cool, like formless creation, that like when light was created on the first day, but it didn't have form. Remember we talked about that? It's kind of like there's light, but you can't see it. It didn't have heat, didn't have, what does it mean? Yeah. And then when he said that the earth was formless, so there's an earth there, but you can't see it. It's really very mysterious. I find it fascinating. So that was at the very beginning. So there was formless. Okay. Then he says in the second, or work of distinction, the heaven and the earth were perfected either by adding substantial form to formless matter, as Augustine holds, or by giving them the order and beauty due to them, as other holy writers suppose. So what I take it to mean, like the first 3 days of creation, you go from kind of having this formless, like something, and all of a sudden there's distinction. Like the water and the earth are separated and distinct. So you have land now, you have water, you have the heavens, the sky, you've got, so now there's actually something, if you were back then, you could see it. It wasn't just formless, but it actually has like physical existence. That's what I take it to mean. And the things are distinct. The sea is not the land is not the sea, the air is not and so all of a sudden now everything is distinct, but there's nothing in it yet. Okay. And then he says, to these 2 works is added the work of adornment, which is distinct from perfect, for the perfection of the heaven and the earth regards seemingly those things that belong to them intrinsically, but the adornment, those things that are extrinsic, just as the perfection of a man lies in the proper parts and forms, and his adornment in clothing or such like. Okay, so the comparison here is the first 3 days would be like creating us. The next 3 days would be like
Creating a fabulous dress for me to wear.
or a hat or a dress.
Fabulous
or,
hat.
Yeah, like that Smokey the Bear hat
Got
or
it.
something like that. Okay.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah, kind of
I
interesting.
don't think I've ever heard that before.
Okay.
Described like that.
Yeah, so let us know if you want to call. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody actually called in and let us know if this makes sense? Aquinas on creation, 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. Jonathan, you're being awful quiet. Just kind of taking it all
Well,
in.
I'm
or-
just doing my job. Working on social media.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so this is the last thing I have as far as Aquinas here in this segment. He says, now just as distinction of certain things is made most evident by their local movement as separating one from another, so the work of adornment is set forth by the production of things having movement in the heavens and upon the earth. But it has been stated above that three things are recorded as created, namely the heaven, the water, and the earth. And these three received their form from the 3 days' work of distinction, so that heaven was formed on the first day. On the second day, the waters were separated, and on the third day, the earth was divided into sea and dry land. Okay, so those are the 3 days of distinction. And then he says, so also it is in the works of adornment. On the first day of this work, which is the fourth of creation, are produced the lights to adorn the heaven by their movements. On the second day, which is the fifth, birds and fishes are called into being to make beautiful the intermediate element. So they move in the air and the water, which are here taken as one. While on the third day, which is the sixth, animals are brought forth to move upon the earth and adorn it. Okay? Simple enough. But it kind of gives order to it all. You know, because I don't think most people realize that it was quite ordered the way they did it. The whole formless thing still kind of confuses me a bit.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting.
What really confuses me is that, so I know that God, of course, God was never created and he always existed, and that he created time. But if there was a point at which something didn't exist and then he brought the world into existence, wouldn't there have been a period of time between its existence and its non-existence?
Well, it would have been brought in time. So the moment that it began to exist, then time would have been created at the same time, right? No pun intended.
Well, yeah.
So time didn't exist.
As long as it had change, because time is a factor of change, right? So,
Yeah.
immutability and eternity are related to each other. That's why, like in time, we get older, right? We couldn't move, we couldn't speak, we couldn't do things unless we were inside of time, because I don't know. There's a direct connection between immutability and eternity, those qualities of God. But yeah, I think you're right though, because as soon as he created something,
There's an amount of time between the time he did and he didn't.
Because all of a sudden you got something you didn't have before. So something was created, and it would had to have been created in time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, like the stopwatch starts going. Okay, now we got time. And there's also in the Summa something about aviternity, which is like an in-between time. It's kind of complicated. I don't want to get too much into it. But yeah, time is really fascinating. You know,
Time keeps on slipping into the future. Sorry, I can't.
You're singing Steve Miller? You weren't even alive when that song was.
Time after
keeps
some
on
time,
slipping,
I could keep going with the time
slipping.
songs here.
Yeah, but so here's the question. Do you think it's better, like, to just say, okay, God created the world, he created the sun, the moon, the stars, the angels, and the animals, and man. Okay, I just accept that. That's great. Let's move on. I love God. Thank you. Or when you get into it like Aquinas does this just kind of muddy the water and make it more complicated, or does it kind of make you more awestruck of God and his
I think
majesty?
it really it expands. You think of it just something simple and small, but it really opens it up to like the insane, mind-boggling thing that it actually is.
I think it kind of depends on the person and how,
That's
because on one hand it's like, oh wow, that really does make it more interesting, but some other people were like, I was totally fine just accepting what had happened. I did not need to go that much more. Now my
Yeah.
brain just hurts and I don't, but I think that's why there's St. Thomas Aquinas is in the world, and they're
Yeah, it's like
there's people-
calculus.
Oh.
I took calculus 2 in college, and the
Oh.
whole time I'm in there thinking, I'm not going to ever need this. I'm not going to be an engineer. I'm not, But some people are eating it up.
yeah, just for the fun of it, honestly.
It's like this is
Crazy
never
people.
going to apply to my life, But yeah, I think it's kind of person to person. But the thing is, there's this thing called primary matter. We've talked about that a couple of times. Okay, so take the like an egg. Okay, Jonathan
Eggs.
has stated his
Love of eggs.
great love of
I
eggs.
love eggs.
This faithful. Okay, can somebody tell that person I'm busy? I don't even know where my phone is. Where'd it go?
Oh, you could do it.
Okay, I don't even know. I don't
We
even have my
fixed it.
phone.
We fixed
okay.
it.
So so let's say there's talking about time. At one moment in time, there's an egg, but 3 days before that there was no egg.
Yeah.
Okay, that egg has matter. Okay, so it was created, but where did that matter come from? Like where
Ooh.
where did that, because that matter never existed before, but it came from somewhere. So where did that matter come from? It's not like I build a house and I have existing wood and you can say all that house came from a tree and it came from glass and and I can tell you but where did that matter come from? It came from nowhere. And that's what primary matter is. It's like the existence of formless matter. Like before it had form, it existed, but formlessly.
So it's like red, blue, and yellow before they become the other colors. Is that not a good example?
It might be a great example.
It's the primary colors. That's why I was like, they were those colors, and then they create other colors.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't getting the whole thing, the primary color thing, but you're right. Those are the ones. Yeah.
I was saying that kind of seriously. And you
No.
started laughing.
It may make perfect sense. I
Yeah.
just haven't processed it yet. Exactly.
I take things very simply, Dave.
No. Okay. No, I know it's just kind of it's very very boggling to the mind to think
It
about.
is.
But something is just totally, or at one point we were this big in our mother's womb. If you can see. And now Jonathan's 6'1" or whatever you are, okay, and like where did that physical stuff come from? It's like
It's true.
Yeah. I liked your example of the primary colors.
primary.
I'm going to have to noodle over that. I'll probably watch this rebroadcast and say, you know what? I didn't give Sissel enough credit. That was actually a really good
It could
example.
be a terrible example. I was just thinking you start. Never mind. I'm not going to go into
Does
it.
the primary color thing work for y'all? Does
Well,
I
I
think that
was-
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the concept makes sense. I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out if you define matter. I just was learning about this in my class, my theology class, about like what matter, because you could argue that color isn't really matter.
Oh,
that
I don't
it's
think
more of
colors
a-
matter.
Yeah, okay,
It's an accident.
an ax. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the wording.
It's not an accident. Like a red apple.
Tell that's the color.
She's very touchy about her colors. Hey, can I mention something real quickly,
Yes.
since it's very apropos to what we're talking about here? We had a couple of guys come in the other day, and they wrote this book called "The Fallen Angel."
A model.
A model. And it was the coolest interview. I really enjoyed it. One of them was a deacon, one of them was a physicist. And then the physicist's son, who's also a scientist, wrote this book. And we don't have really time, and it's going to run tomorrow as our interview of the week at 3:10. And their whole model, and it was so fascinating, was that, because you have the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory, and I don't know a lot about it. You guys
It's a
probably
great show.
not that. The Big Bang Theory basically says that all of creation kind of came from this explosion of this like kind of ball of energy, right? Am I right? Sam, I'm looking at you. For some
I
reason,
don't
I think
know.
Sam should know this. And something exploded and it created this expansion and like basically the world as we know it, and it keeps expanding and expanding, but it all started in this little tiny little ball of something, right? Well, their theory is, okay, well, but then so the atheist might say, well, that's how the world started. This thing exploded. Then the theist would say, well, what caused it to go in the first place, right? These guys are positing that the fall of the angels created the Big Bang.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Wait.
Yeah. So when it's almost like when the angels fell, and I'm putting words in their mouth that probably aren't true, that there was some kind of a release of like moral energy or something happened at that moment that had an effect. It was a cause of an effect, and that effect set loose the Big Bang. And their whole thing is that we got to explain the Big Bang if that's because I think we're allowed to believe in it. It was invented by a Catholic Jesuit priest, I think. Okay, we believe in the fall of the angels, but was there a cause and effect between those two?
Yeah, it was really
Read that
interesting.
now. That sounds cool.
And these guys were like theologians, philosophers. They were Thomists, and they're also like scientists. And they're
Physicists, yeah.
getting into this. But yeah, tomorrow at 3:10, listen to it. I could send you the
I just
review.
linked the book in case anyone wants to look into it a little bit deeper too.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's see. If anybody wants to comment, we're about to move into our next phase of the program. I know this is kind of deep stuff. Do you like this? Or do you just kind of keep it simple, like what I learned in second grade in CCD class, that God created the world, and I'm happy with that. I don't need this stuff. I kind of like it. I don't understand it all, but I think it's kind of fascinating. You know?
I think it's good. It's kind of like there's almost two ways to look at it, especially with the first 3 days of creation. It's like those things I don't quite understand, how there's like an earth without form that was created, but I think it's like I was saying, different types of people. Some people like to like directly think it through, like Aquinas, but then I also think like for me, just to have intellectual surety that like you have a foundation like the Bible and you can use that to say, if I don't understand it, it's still good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't shake my faith if I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Let me give another example real quickly, and then we'll move on. Let's say among the four of you, I'm the only married person among this crew, right? So I have children. I don't think I'm going to have any more children. I'm pretty done. Let's say a couple of you might have kids one day, right? Let's just say hypothetically, Sam is going to have a baby girl one day with your wife, of course. That child doesn't have physical form yet, but God has that child already in mind, right? And so I think that would be a formless being, because he already knows.
Oh,
It already
interesting.
exists in the mind of God, but in the future, but it doesn't have physical qualities.
So before we were
that child.
conceived, we were a formless being. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of a practical example of maybe that's what was going on those first 3 days. But in the first 3 days there was distinction. But the beginning, when he said God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was a formless, abyss and void, maybe that's what was going on. It was just kind of in the mind of God, but it hadn't had any kind of form yet or matter, right?
Yeah.
All right. Make it stop. All right, let's now, Diane, you can play your sound effect, that one that you've been practicing.
And now it's that time of the show where we give Dave Suma to talk about, and he gives it right back. Spent a lot of time practicing that.
We got that one down.
That
Were
one-
you and Diane practicing today?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, I think you guys have all seen my questions already.
actually haven't,
Okay,
but-
so Scout's honor, you guys don't know what
I
my
don't
questions
know.
are.
I
We-
have
we
no idea.
promise?
Well,
Yeah, I
I
have no
saw
idea.
a few of them, but I think that it won't affect my answers.
You saw the answers?
Well, I
You
don't
saw the
think
questions, I think.
I saw a few of the questions, so you can just say them and then.
Okay, are you
That
gonna,
would
are
be a
you
great practical
recusing
joke for
yourself
Dave
from
one day.
this?
We all
Recusing.
find his questions and we learn them.
I
and
think that's
just-
already happened. I think it happened today. Okay, who wants to go first? Sam, you're the.
I
John
can go
doesn't have
first.
it. Jonathan doesn't
Yeah,
have
John
any.
doesn't.
I
So-
have
more
some,
time.
but
Give me a
I
minute
think
here.
Sam can go if he would
All
like
right,
to.
Sam can go
Okay.
first.
All right. So this is you may or may not know this. This is the Pope before St. John Paul II. I hide my screen
Oh,
from
the Pope
Jonathan.
before him, like
Yeah.
who he was?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes, and then there's a bonus point question.
John Paul the First.
Good. Yeah. Okay. And then you got it. and then
Woo!
Second
Diane,
question.
sound effects. Come on, Diane's sleeping on the job in there.
There
All
we go.
right, there we go. All right.
All right. And then
Gotta
this-
get the payoff.
Yeah, you do
Come
get
on.
the payoff. This one, I mean, this is from Wikipedia, so kind of going down, stepping from the UN.
Yeah,
source
okay.
here, But
I don't know,
what
Sam.
what was the day that his papacy began?
Ooh.
Wait, who? Which
John Paul I.
John Paul the First. It was 1978. and I'm going to say October 4th.
You got the year right, but it was not October 4th.
It
It
was
is
in the fall. It was in
actually-
the fall.
It was in the
Yeah,
fall.
because he died in the winter, didn't he?
No, he only
was-
he only lived like 33 days as Pope.
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
really short.
my mom said she was growing up in Montreal and she would wake up to her alarm clock was a radio and she'd wake up and she heard, oh, the white smoke, the new Pope has been announced. And then she said 33 days later, she woke up again and she was 6 or something, 4 or 6. She's just like, am I like having a deja vu moment here when
Yeah.
they said again?
Now they're doing it again. Every
And
month
she's
you
just
get a new
like,
Pope. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
crazy.
great.
What's the date?
But it was yesterday, August 26th.
Oh, okay.
So not yesterday, literally.
And
but
they're pushing for beatification of him.
I've
Are
heard-
they?
Yeah,
are?
he's.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
he's-
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right. I like all those encyclicals he wrote, man. During those 33 days, he
did a
was
lot.
he was just a writing machine.
Yeah.
No, I'm
All right,
kidding.
I have a question now. Just saying, I got one.
Oh, you got a question?
How-
Oh, before
Okay.
that, I have a question about the beatification of who? Saint.
John Paul I.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say Saint John Paul II.
Yeah. I think he's already been through it.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt.
Yes.
Interesting thing. Right around that time, because I was born in '67, I was about 11 when the popes, John Paul I, John Paul II, and I had an accident on the playground where I got kicked in the head and I almost died. Well, a buddy of mine, my very best friend, was home and he got a call from somebody. And back in the days, you had like multiple phones in the house. You pick up one, and then somebody else can pick up a phone in the house, and you can listen in the conversation. And so my friend picked up the phone, and all he heard was his mom say, "He died," and my friend thought that I had
Oh,
died.
no.
So he starts going,
Oh,
"No, right?" And so,
That's so sad.
yeah, but it wasn't me that died; it was the Pope. Okay. So,
Dang.
no. What?
It's just the story. Okay.
All right, Jonathan.
All right.
Once again, didn't have one, but now he does.
Okay. So this is
True to form.
church history, kind of. Okay. So there was a pope. So of course, the schism between the East and the West. It happened over a very long time. But towards the end is when things, of course, really heated up, and more, issues happened back and forth. So the pope at the time made a controversial statement. However, it was true. It was it's a true statement. But he made a statement to I don't want to give him the wrong title, but basically the king figure of
Holy Roman Emperor.
somewhere in the Byzantine Empire.
Okay.
I think it may have been the king or the emperor. Basically, he was because the king in the Eastern Church is more of a religious leader also. So anyway, he was.
Is this
having,
a story or a question?
No, it's a question. You'll see.
Oh, okay.
He was having a bit of an argument with the Pope, and the Pope eventually said, "That's it. You know what? Kings need popes, but popes don't need kings." And then he kind of just dropped the mic, sort of in that. He dropped the quill.
Non-existent,
So to
not
speak,
yet
and
created
also
mic.
excommunicated him, I think.
Yes, and that was one of the last straws for the schism. Now, which pope said that?
I know what year it was.
Yeah, which
I know that year is 1054, right?
Yeah.
which pope?
Okay.
Flashcards.
I wish he had asked what year.
Yeah, right?
It was
I could've gotten that one.
Pius II.
No. I'll give you one more. He
Okay.
he
John
shares-
the- John the
no, no, no,
Third.
no, He shares a name with a very famous saint.
There's a lot of really
Yeah,
I
famous
know,
a
but
lot.
like, I mean, this is really famous.
really famous saint.
Like, I mean-
like
even among the secular world.
Francis.
No.
Okay, of course, there's only been one Francis.
No,
Yeah.
it's, Pope Nicholas II.
Okay. All right. Oh, so after Saint Nicholas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To be fair, St. Nicholas Wall, he is very famous, but not by St. Nicholas.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. Well, still.
All right.
Well, thank you.
I have my questions. I have a couple questions.
Plural.
Oh, wait, I won. I'm just going to say that I won.
Yeah.
Dave.
Ah,
Okay,
yeah.
congratulations. It doesn't mean
No one
much when
seems
you
to
didn't do
care when
any
I
work.
win.
No,
But
because you always say you don't have questions, and then you come up with questions.
know.
Well, it should be seen as a
that-
great
that-
comeback
That's
story.
not one that just kind of pops into your head.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
that's
is.
something. You came with a question.
No, I did not.
Jonathan.
Oh my goodness gracious!
All
All right,
right,
I have
Cecil,
two
you're up.
questions. Okay. This first one, I actually didn't know the answer to this, so I thought it would be interesting to see if you did. What Catholic religious order did Martin Luther belong to before he broke away from the church?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I know that one.
Well, then answer it. Does anyone else know?
Augustinians.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Did you all know that?
I did not.
I was
sort of
Protestant too, but of course we wouldn't talk about his time as a Catholic, really.
Wow, the crowd goes wild. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
good.
my other one. This one might be a little bit trickier. By the way, I spent a lot of time researching
Okay.
Catholic
You
trivia
didn't have any
questions,
help?
and the very first one that came up. No, I'm joking. Okay. Okay. When the children of the Vision of Fatima were beatified by Pope John Paul II, they became the youngest to receive that accolade. Prior to them, who was the youngest Catholic to be beatified?
Prior to the
children of Fatima.
children of Fatima. Okay.
Any
so,
ideas? I bet you all know it. I bet you all know it.
I think I know.
On the
Oh, do you want to guess, Sam?
no, I don't know.
I
His
forgot his name. I know what he looks like, but I forgot his name.
Wasn't Maria Grady?
It was
Yeah,
Maria
it's-
Grady.
Oh, never mind. I thought it was somebody.
She
Yeah,
was-
I was trying to place her because I think she's
Yeah, she was 12 years old.
Okay. All right.
Woo, woo, woo.
He shoots, he scores.
Wow.
All right, Sissel, thank you
Wow.
very
You're
much.
welcome.
Okay, this is going to be kind of the lightning round.
Oh,
You
boy.
guys have already seen all these, so just kind
It'll
of
be really lightning, you
kind of
know?
like when somebody throws you a surprise party and you know it, but you fake it to make them feel
Yeah.
good. You know, like, oh my goodness.
really good at that.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah. Oh gosh, I never would have thought. So just kind of play along, okay?
You'd also pretend to have a heart attack, and that would really add to it, I think.
All right, let's see. Whose feast day do we celebrate today?
Oh, no.
See,
Saint Monica.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Saint
Diane.
Monica. You're right.
All
Good job,
So-
Diane.
So, are you guys playing dumb or you really didn't
No,
know?
we really
I
didn't know
know.
that.
I kind
Okay.
of.
I remember I have seen a lot of Saint Monica things on social media recently, and it just kind of clicked now.
All
I'm
right,
like, oh.
let me just
She's
check
my
and-
favorite saint. I attend St. Monica's Catholic Church in Dallas.
Oh.
And when you walk into the parish, you can literally feel her presence in there.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, she's awesome. Okay. Question number 2 of 6. Here we go. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Got your game faces on. Who was her famous son?
Oh,
Saint
beep, 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 Saint. Wait, really? I, thought,
I hadn't heard
No
it.
idea.
My bad.
I didn't say
Saint
you got
Augustine.
it. Okay, I think Jonathan got it.
I think
Yeah.
I thought
No, I
Sam
didn't.
said it.
What?
Sam
Oh,
said
what?
it.
said?
I didn't.
Sam.
I didn't do the thing.
Sam
No,
was-
I just
You
did
had
it.
it
I don't know
first.
why. I thought we were. For some reason, I was like buzzer.
Yeah, I know.
You
You
feel
thought
the
you were on
need.
Family Feud and you were looking for that little thing.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Sam, by the way, reigning champion from last week.
Because he doesn't
He's trying-
hesitate. He just gives it.
Yeah, you
Well,
did no reason to hesitate.
We should
okay?
have a buzzer system though. Like, you
I
have to
think.
hit the
I think
table.
next week we'll have a buzzer.
And
system.
that was the easiest of the 6 questions. Okay, that was pretty easy.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh.
next question number 3. Augustine was the bishop of what diocese? Sam.
Wait.
Somewhere. Oh, Egypt.
Hippo.
No, Hippo. What am I talking about? What am I talking about?
It is.
Who said hippo? Sam?
Sam did.
All right, Sam. Very good.
Thank you.
Sam, are these ill-gotten answers or you didn't?
Augustine
I
and
think
Hippo. It's
Augustine
pretty
and
good.
Hippo.
Augustine.
Yeah,
Augustine.
I don't know. I
Augustine.
didn't think about that.
Okay. All right. All right. Sam 2, Diane 1. If you're counting at home. Jonathan doesn't like when I give the score. I found that out last
It's
week.
okay. I'm not on the board either, Jonathan. But
yeah.
I did have a buzzer. so-
Okay. Name one of Augustine's famous books. Jonathan. Did-
Okay, wait. I thought about it for a minute. Oh, the Confessions. His Confessions.
Oh my
Confessions,
gosh.
yes.
A City of
All
God.
right.
Darn. That's
Now
right. That's
only
right.
you are without. See, the very person who I accused of cheating hasn't got any right. So I think you're.
I'm playing it safe so I can keep my good character.
You actually know
Hold
all
on a
these,
second.
right?
Hold on
Okay.
a second. I have to find out if City of God is actually St. Augustine.
Oh,
book.
it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, without.
Ah, I
doubt.
just thought of it too late.
Okay, so you were going to say that.
I was gonna say I said City of God
You've
after
had
he
two
said.
answers now.
Okay. All right, here we go. What century did Augustine die?
400s.
That's not a cent. Well, okay.
Well,
Yeah, okay. The 400. Sam got it. 430. Okay, so Sam has now put it out of reach. Nobody can catch up with him.
We
with
could do
one
a winner
question to
takes it
go.
all.
winner takes all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do a winner takes all? Last
We should
question.
do it.
Sam's
Watch as
gonna-
Sam
Sam's gonna
loses.
put it all on the line. And this one's really hard, and nobody. No, I
Oh.
don't think anybody's going to get this. Okay, and if you're watching at home, this is going to be the last one. Maybe you can. Of course, you got like a 10-second delay, so you pretty much cannot win this. You might, maybe because it may take a while. Here we go. Who is the name of Monica's husband / Augustine's father?
Oh.
Okay, he
Oh.
converted on his deathbed. He
Oh,
was
no.
kind of a not so good character.
No, what was his name?
Okay, so you all at home, if you want to guess,
You could steal it because we're not doing well.
You could
Yeah.
steal it because you got some time here. This is gonna be the last question.
Frederick.
Imagine
No,
if
Frederick-
Sissel walked away with all of it.
No, I don't. I can. I remember it's a pretty
You want me-
complicated looking name. Is that right?
You want me to give you a multiple choice?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
please.
yeah.
Yes, please, please, please.
Okay,
might actually get it.
Make it up. You guys talk amongst yourself for
Oh.
a second, okay?
So I think it's Frederick.
If,
Still.
don't do
Not
Dave,
Frederick.
Could be.
Dave and Bob though. Okay.
Dave. Bob. Dave chuckles as he
Make-
scratches out Dave.
Okay, here we go. And let's say there's going to be 4 guesses. Okay,
Okay.
You can't answer until I've said all 4.
Okay.
Okay, that's the thing. It's kind of like jumping off the line in the Olympics. If you go too fast, you're eliminated. Okay, so don't do that. So I'll say all 4, and Diane, you can play as well. Everybody at home can play if you'd like. In no particular order. Was it Antiochus, Tyrannus, Galasius, or Pertisia?
Pertisius.
Cecil takes it all.
Hey!
Pertisius, yes.
I thought it began with a P, but I could not remember how to pronounce it for the life of me.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel badly that I suggested winner take it all.
I know.
No, it was the
An
first
ill-gotten win.
Especially
Sam
since I
got
got it from a
totally-
multiple choice.
Sam got totally robbed.
Well, Cecil did have 3 answers now in total.
That's true.
because
I
you
did. I came up
have-
with City of God just after too late.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. This is going to do it for another edition of Back to the Father. Thank you, Jonathan, Sam, Cecil, Diane, everybody at home. Thank you for playing along. God bless you. And if you're watching the recording and you're still watching, email to get on our email list, davepalmer@grnonline.com. Okay? God bless you.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive.